Hi everyone, good morning. So I've chosen three messages, and as you can see, one is a Twitter and one is two interviews with Chris Matthews. It's essentially one interview with Chris Matthews and Donald Trump, but it's split up into two based on the subject matter that the question was posed to Donald Trump, which the second one discusses his ideas on abortion and if it's banned or illegal, and the third choice, and it's the second portion of the video, it's about nuclear weapons and his take on nuclear weapons and when he would use it and how he would use it, opening him up to more on a worldly view, not just domestic and simpleton solutions, but getting into details of what he would do and how he would use it. So using the intro to the media literacy, I'll discuss basically these three examples. The first one being the Twitter. Here is essentially a tweet out from Donald Trump on March 23rd of this year. It titles, "No need to spill the beans." At the bottom, it says, "The images are worth 1,000 words," and it shows two comparisons of two women. The one on the left, it's Heidi Cruz. She is the wife of Ted Cruz, who is campaigning for the presidential seat, his opponent, Donald Trump's opponent. And then here's Melania Trump, who is, of course, the wife of Donald Trump, and she being a former model. Here you go, a beautiful picture of her, and an unflattering picture of Heidi Cruz. So, and that is the text of it. So basically, it's a comparison of these two women visually, who is more beautiful. The underlining tones of it, the subtext, is that okay, let me go backwards. Basically, it came out of Donald Trump, who are the audience. Basically, I was originally going to say just women, but then again, we all can identify this, men and women, of every background, professionals, ethnic. We look at visuals and we tend to side favorably towards, someone that looks beautiful, especially when it comes down to persuasion. And I guess that's what's leading into this. So he pretty much is trying to lead everybody towards Melania, that wouldn't you want to have her, basically. So where does this tweet stem from? Basically, the history of this is that I think around March 22nd, or even a little bit prior to that, an anti-Trump group had sent out a tweet with an image of Melania Trump in a risque picture, and I'm not sure if any of you seen it, but basically it titles like, "Would you want her to be the first lady?" And Donald Trump took offense to that. He could have just not like an adult, or as he's been doing throughout this whole campaign, acting like a child in a playground, like a 5-year-old. He's going to go ahead and counteract with this image. Now, prior to all of this antics that he was doing, I wasn't in favor for him, just based on his rhetorics out there, but how this came about and why this even came about, and also the timing of it was tasteless, because on March 22nd was Belgium had an attack from ISIS at their airport. 34 people was killed and hundreds were wounded. It's been an ongoing ISIS threat attack crisis going on in Europe. The last one prior to that was in November, when ISIS had attacked Paris. that was a huge issue. It was a covert, I forgot the word, but it was multiple people involved of ISIS group going out and bombing people and shooting people up in Paris. And then here we go to recent days where now they're attacking Belgium. And after that happened, this tweet came out. So that really infuriated me because of the timing. This is supposed to be a timing where if you're a president, if you're somewhat in a high position such as that, and especially if you are trying to pie for votes from people, that shouldn't you have at least take a step back and just look at what's happening to the world, basically, and just kind of like talk about that and giving your condolence. And that's not what he did. Instead, he did this. So that's why, you know, he is the main subject for my project. And the counter, of course, as you know, would be anti-Trump or stop Trump. And there's many organizations that's actually out there that's doing that right now. But on the subtext, looking at this and what type of tactic tools they used based on the media literacy that the professor had sent out, is that he's using the basic technique, which is using beautiful people. Like, again, it's a contrast, right? We use beautiful people to sell products, to grab an attention. And, you know, basically with this two contrasts, you know, they're basically trying to lure people to Trump's side and say, hey, what do you want? Her to be your first lady. Definitely. You know, and another tactic is card stacking. Basically, you know, they're just leaving the story untold and just giving that information out there, but giving the viewers or the audience, which is pretty much everybody, lead them to their own desired conclusion, like what was written down in on this media literacy. So so that's a brief history and the background and the subtext to it and the text and the type of persuasion tool. And of course, this is a negative message that's being presented here to everyone. Originally, I thought the target audience would be women, because it's like two women. But then again, I started thinking about it. It's basically everybody, because we all can relate to that. We all have our values and beliefs and all of that. And so, you know, guys too will look at beautiful women too, so they're also included in there. But here's where women end up being more of the voice here, because we, as a woman speaking, that we have been challenged with the media and how we're supposed to look, dress, act, etc. And so this doesn't empower women at all at this point. I don't know who is this group of people that he's trying to empower, but it only looks as though it's only in their interest, his interest. So I'll just leave it at that. And then the second video, which is about the subject text about this, is about abortion. So Chris Matthew pretty much tried to prod him for information on details on what he would do when he is president and abortion becomes, you know, banned. What type of punishment? What is he going to do? What is his? So basically, the tool persuasion here is testimonial. Chris Matthew is pretty much just the interviewer who's trying to get a testimonial confession, basically, from Donald Trump of what his views are. So basically, the audience is at first to this one, I thought it would be just the women, because we can relate to this subject, but it's actually everybody because of how this interview had played out, because he had testified that yeah, there should be, quote unquote, some form of punishment for women. And then when posed the question about if the guy who, you know, it takes two to make a baby, so if the guy would have if there would be any repercussions to that, and you know, Donald Trump said no. So of course, naturally, the audience targeted at this point is women, but when in fact, when you look at the whole picture, is actually everybody, because it kind of defines everyone's belief and values, in a sense that, you know, this is supposed to be a democratic nation. Democracy is the underlining message for everything, and here is someone who's trying to fringe on that right, you know, of everybody's rights, really, and saying that no, okay, you're gonna get punished for the woman, so excluding the guys and everybody else who helps her to get that abortion. So that was that tactic for that one. And I guess again, who does that empower to empower? I guess it doesn't empower anybody, really. It disempowers everybody if you look at it, because again, like I explained, it takes away the freedom of right to do what a woman wants to do with her body, or anybody for that matter. And again, there is a negative tone to this presented out there. It wasn't really thoughtfully crafted out to the audience, who the viewers or the voters, because this is a very serious subject that has been debated, you know, for decades on this matter. So I don't know, I'm sorry. So the testimony, again, it's testimonial on this one. So the third one, I'm moving on to nuclear weapons. Again, it's another portion of the interview, and again, if I didn't explain it, I don't think I did. Basically, the text about it, and I would say the person that's creating this would be Chris Matthews from Hardball and MSNBC News. And how the picture is laid out is that he actually has them sitting face to face, basically. I'm sorry, I didn't really explain the first segment of the video, but I'm talking about both these two segments here of one interview with Chris Matthews. Now they're sitting face to face. Now, the subtext of that in a face-to-face interview such as that, Chris Matthews doesn't usually do that unless he's really going to he's going to be prodding you for information, and he's serious, and you can't really dodge. Donald Trump loves to dodge a lot of questions, and actually uses deflective tactics, such as he poses the question back to you in a different form so that he can actually escape from the original question, you know. So now going back to other subjects of this clip here. So Chris Matthews is using tools such as experts testimonial. He says things like, presidents don't say this when it comes to nuclear weapons. I believe he is the expert in this because he's conducted so many interviews, and that he knows, and he's seen many presidents and interviewed them, and any politician, that when it comes down to the subject of nuclear weapons especially, you don't talk about it. Not openly like how Donald Trump has been, because of how his career is. He's basically a businessman stepping in the shoes of politicians, so it's one of the things that he doesn't really know about doing. But anyways, the second portion of this is about another tool that they use in here is the testimonial. Again, it's Donald Trump that's testifying what he's going to do in a situation when it comes down to nuclear weapons. And the history behind this is that he did confess to one interviewer a while back, not too long ago, that he wouldn't take the cards off the table, in his own words, when it comes down to nuclear weapons. And so that's where this subject came about. And so again, when approached with that same questioning, and Chris Matthews asked them about, okay, so would you use it in the Middle East? And he wasn't very clear, but he said he wouldn't take the cards off the table in that sense. And also too, when Chris Matthews also asked him, well, what about Europe? Would you take that off the table? And he did not. Donald Trump defiantly didn't want to take that off the table too, in his own words. You know, instead of saying no, yes, he would take it off the table, you know, like a sane person would, but I guess that's not the case here. So again, this is a negative message that's being presented. The negative message, of course, is nuclear weapons. It's a scary tactic. It's scary for all of us. And again, the audience is everybody that's viewing this and is wondering what are they seeing and what are they taking away from this information. And this disempowers everybody, really, because as a nation, you don't want to be throwing information out there that you're going to bomb a country if they don't meet the bargaining chips of Donald Trump when it comes down to his bargaining tactics. Let's see. So I think I pretty much covered all of it. It looks like, in terms of this. But again, the counter message and all of this that I'll be doing for my project, of course, it's going to be on Donald Trump. And I guess the campaign message would be the anti-Trump, you know, or stop Trump and not getting him elected. And I think that's it. So I hope everybody's doing okay, and I look forward to reading or watching all of your videos too, and trying to learn from them too. So I hope everyone have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.